Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, Felix, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and sorry about the delay. We had some technical challenges that we needed to fix. So let's get started. Any other person that has not joined will join us in course of the training. So my name is Wesi Philip. I'm from Awata Technologies Limited, and we are going to be taking you in Microsoft Azure, which is a cloud computing platform. Now, we'll start from the fundamentals to the advanced level. So, for the period of this 1 month, you are going to be looking at the fundamentals. Then the following month, you will consider the advanced aspects of cloud computing. So that is just what we are going to be doing. So for Azure fundamentals, it's called AZ900, and for the administrator, we have AZ104, and as you progress, that's how the version and changes. So in our case, we are looking at AZ900, the Azure fundamentals. Now we have quite a number of things we can do. So I will just go ahead and share my screen so that um, you will all be
Yes,
together.
please don't.
Good. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we are talking about Microsoft Azure Cloud Computing fundamentals. So let's get to work because we don't have much time again. All right. So and for the first module, these are the topics we are going to be considering. We'll be looking at cloud computing concepts. We'll be looking at the core Azure services. We'll be looking at security, privacy, compliance, and trust. We'll be looking at Azure pricing, service level agreements, and life cycle. So it's going to be an intense training. So anytime you guys are coming to class, I would urge you to have together your writing materials because you are going to really be learning what cloud computing is all about. You know, in cloud computing, we have Azure platform, we have AWS, and those are just the basic ones that when you mention cloud computing, we talk about Azure and AWS. Now, Azure is from Microsoft. We call it Microsoft Azure. So that's just it. Now, in the cloud computing concept, we are going to be looking at the principles of cloud computing. We're going to be looking at how you can introduction to Azure. I'm going to introduce you guys to Azure. We are going to create an account on Azure, and we are going to really do some cool things in Azure. You know, it's a platform. Just look at it like a software that you have installed on your system, and you are learning how to operate the software. That's just how the platform is. The only difference is this one is online, so that's just what we are going to be looking at. So these are just the basics. So under understanding the core Azure services, we are going to be looking at we introduce you to Azure first. We are going to look at Azure architecture and service parameters. We are going to be looking at Azure compute options. We are going to be looking at Azure data storage options. We are going to be looking at Azure networking options. Then after that, we go ahead to understanding security, privacy, compliance, and trust, under which we are going to be looking at what security talks about, the responsibility and trust in Azure, how is Azure really secured, why should I migrate from on premises to the cloud. We are going to be looking at all that. We're also going to be looking at how control and organize Azure resources with Azure Resource Manager. So we are going to be looking at how we can be making use of the ARM template. It's called ARM template, Azure Resource Manager. We are going to be looking at apply and monitor infrastructure standards with Azure policy. So, and we'll still go ahead and look at Azure pricing and support. We'll look at how we can create Azure account. We'll look at how we can manage services with Azure portal. We're going to be looking at Azure architecture and service parameters. Then we're going to predict cost and optimize spending for Azure. Since Azure is a cloud platform, before you create an account, you have to input your card details, right? So any resource you create in Azure, you have to, especially the virtual machines, when you create virtual machines in Azure, you have to do what? First of all, turn them off so that you will not allow them run throughout the night. Because as a virtual machine runs throughout the night, so the money in your account will be running, except you are running a 247 services that requires the virtual machines to always be on. In that case, you have to leave your virtual machines on. So we are going to be looking at all that. So moving forward, of course, Azure is a course that requires you to write a certification. We have the certification aspect of Azure. So AZ900 has its certification, AZ104 has its certifications, and the rest have their own certification. When you're looking at the Azure Architect, Azure Engineer, all of them have certifications that you are required to write. So doing that, we are going to, this is the slide that is displayed now. It's just showing the specific levels and the percentage that each section or each module requires. Understanding concepts is from 15 to 20%. Understand core Azure services is from 30 to 35%, and the rest and all that. So let's just quickly get to work. Cloud concepts. We'll start with cloud concepts. So when you are talking about the cloud, anything that requires the cloud, you know that it's leaving what the on-prem. What I mean by on-premises is just the normal way we operate with physical locations in our offices, having sometimes we even require to move far from one state to another. Maybe we'll need to move from far from one office to another. On premises, that is just what it entails. So we are migrating what? From on premises to what? To the cloud. That means every activity you do in your office, it's being managed on the cloud. That's just what Azure does. That's just what Azure does. It's highly secured and all that. So we have to what? We are going to describe the benefits and considerations of using cloud services. We are going to be understanding high availability, scalability, elasticity, agility, fault tolerance, disaster recovery. We are going to be looking at all that and those things that I've not even mentioned. So without wasting of our time, let's look at it. We have cloud agility. You can see as it's on the slide, I said cloud agility is the ability to what? Rapidly change an IT infrastructure in order to adapt to what? To the evolving needs of a business. So we need to change what? The structure of what? Your infrastructure or your business of your establishment to be able to do what? To adapt to the needs of that organization. We have security threats everywhere. We have security threats on the on-prem, maybe, and in some cases, what if there's a fire outbreak in your office? Are your files safe? Is your data safe? So those are all the things that we're going to be looking at and how we can migrate from what? From on-prem to what? To the cloud. Also, as a cloud architect or as a cloud engineer, as a cloud administrator, you have what? The privilege and the responsibility to do what? To manage all your clients' data. to manage all your client data. So your organization might require to provide services for another organization. Let's say the international banks or any bank at all that wants to migrate from the on-prem to the cloud. Your your organization will be charged with the responsibility of what making sure or ensuring that data that is on prem is not lost in the process of what migrating to the cloud. So those kind of infrastructure changes, that is what um, IT infrastructure is talking about. That is what IT infrastructure is talking about. So we are going to be looking at all that. And that is just what it is. Now we are looking at high availability. Now, in situations whereby you migrate to the cloud or even on your on-prem, how available are your resources? For banks that run 24/7, at midnight, a customer might want to make a transfer. At any point in time, people are trying to make transfer. So how are your services available? Now, availability of an application to continue running in a healthy state without significant downtime. When you talk about downtime, you are talking about the time where customers are trying to access your services and they are not able to. Let's say you have a website and someone tries to access the website at a particular point in time, the person is not able to access it. That's what downtime talks about. So high availability is talking about the continuous or running or the healthy state of your application without a significant downtime. Now, by healthy state, we mean the application is responsive and users can connect to the application and interact with it. We also talk about elasticity, which talks about automatically add or remove resources based on on demand and all that. So those are all what we are going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at all this. So for in order to continue with this training, before I even go into details of this, I will guide you through on how you can sign up to Microsoft Azure, because we cannot do this without the practicals. Even if as we are doing the fundamentals, it's very good if you have an account already. So let's quickly go ahead and do that. So I'll hit my browser and I'll go to portal.azure portal.azure.com portal.azure.com. I'm going to leave this link in the chat so that you can all copy it, or you can just go ahead and type it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just leave it in the chat here. Good. So portal.azure.com. So if you already have an account, you just go ahead and log in. But if you don't have an account, you can see my own. I already have an account, which is philip62@gmail.com. Now remember, the email you are going to use, if I click on add another account, the email you are going to use, you should ensure that is Microsoft email. Ensure that the email you are signing in with is or you are creating an account with should be your Microsoft email. So I'm going to go ahead and input my email and I'll click next. So if you don't have an account, the process is just quite easy. You just navigate to portal.azure.com portal.azure.com. Once the interface opens, you just follow the prompt to register an account. Now we have the trial version of Azure, which Azure allows you to use its the services for 1 month without paying. So after the free trial, you are required to do what? To subscribe. Now the subscription is even flexible. It's pay as you go. That's why it's recommended that once you have your services, let's say you deploy a virtual machine, it's it's advised that at the end of it all you should do what? Turn off the virtual machine. Because if you don't turn off the virtual machine, as the services are running, so your money in the account will be going, because Azure will automatically be charging you for their services. So let's get to it. Let's quickly sign in. Okay, you can see I'm already in. This is the Azure platform, but it's not fully loaded. Let's hold on for it. Good. So this is it now. So since I have an account, this is it. This is my Azure account. You can see start with Azure free trial. So you can start here. Now, for Nigerian banks, I think it's only GT Bank that allows you to activate the free trial account. So if you have a GT Bank account, you can just input your card details and then it will just deduct $1 from your account and then your free trial will be activated. Now at the end of 1 month, it's not going to automatically move or migrate to pay as you go. Azure will actually ask you before going ahead and registering. So these are quite a number of things. This is just the Azure platform. You can start a free trial account. You can create what? A subscription. You can create a resource. You can create a resource group. You can deploy virtual machines. You can deploy app services, storage account, SQL database, Azure Cosmos DB, and all. So we are going to be looking at all this in the course of this training. So what I will do is I will just allow you guys, you go ahead, create your account. When you create your account, we will look at details about this training. We'll look at details about this training once you create your account and all that. So I was talking about agility. So just follow the link I sent. If you have any issues creating your account, you just hit me up and then we'll solve it together even in this class. Now, I told you that the system is easy to evolve as business changes, and this defines the degree to which your application can be modified depending on the business requirement. I told you that, if you remember when we were talking about agility in the other slide, I told you that agility is the ability of your IT infrastructure to adapt to the evolving needs of the business. So we have high availability, where I talk about how available how is the healthy state of your service or of your application and all that. So moving forward, we are looking at scalability, which talks the increase or decrease the resources on services used based on demand or workload that you have in your account. That's the workload you deploy or the services you deploy in your account. That's your Azure platform right now. So that's just what scalability is talking about. So since today is just an introduction and all that, I wouldn't want to take much time, but this material I'm going to share it with you guys so that you go through it, and so that when next we are meeting, we are going to really take time and go through all this. I wouldn't want to bother you with so much today, but as we come tomorrow for the training, let's ensure that get ourselves ready, because tomorrow is going to be real business. Today, I just wanted to introduce you guys to the platform. I want to tell you what and what you are going to be looking at, and as we progress, we are going to be exploring and getting all the needed things about this training. So, before we even go, I would want to ask, do we have any question concerning um, what we've done so far? Do you have any question?
No, no questions.
Okay, no
Not yet,
questions.
not yet.
Okay, so what I will do is, anytime you have issues, just take your time, create the account. If you have any difficulty, you can reach out to me on the WhatsApp platform, and I will be available to assist. If you are having difficulty even activating your free trial account, because I want us to start from free trial account. So all of us are going to activate our free trial account before we'll be able to access Azure resources. Of course, the trial account has limitations. It has a lot of limitations. It's not all Azure services that you can access with the trial account. But in cases where we cannot access the trial account and those resources, we have on the Microsoft Learn, we have what is called Microsoft Learn. Good. We have Microsoft Learn, where you are where Microsoft uploads all their trainings.